Welcome back. In our journey through the realms of technology, we've now introduced databases. Now it's time for us to build a strong foundation for our coffee shop and start thinking about how we can make it more efficient, how we can have smoother operations. Now let's start imagining that this coffee shop is growing and we need to have each area perfectly orchestrated for optimal performance. Let's talk about the three-tier web architecture. This is a layout that brings harmony to our digital world. In our tech-infused coffee shop, we have three distinct areas: the front end, the middle tier, and the back end. Each tier has a unique role, just like in an application's architecture. Picture a customer placing an order at the counter. The counter, much like our front end, is where users interact directly with an application. It's the face of our coffee shop, welcoming customers and taking their requests. In an app, this could be represented by the user interface on an app or a website. It's where the user enters information or data and saves it or receives the data from the database. It's the site portion of a website. The cashier, who receives the order and processes payments, symbolizes the middle tier. This layer ensures seamless communication between the front end and our back end, just as the cashier bridges the gap between our customers and our baristas. And then comes the magic behind the scenes, our barista. The busy barista crafts the perfect coffee that represents our back end. Here, data's processed, actions are executed, and responses are generated. These three tiers, front end, middle tier, and back end, collaborate like a well-coordinated trio, just as our coffee shop operates harmoniously to serve customers. Now let's talk about an important concept called decoupling. Just as we don't want our barista to juggle cashier duties or bump into our cashier, we don't want our tiers to be tightly coupled. Decoupling allows each tier to evolve independently. Decoupling ensures that changes in one tier don't disrupt others. It's like having a coffee supplier that can upgrade beans without affecting the cashier or the barista. Best practice is that we separate our databases from our middle tier and separate our middle tier from our front end. We treat them as different entities that should be hosted in independent locations. Decoupled tiers offer scalability, the ability to handle more customers efficiently. Our coffee shop can expand seamlessly, and in the tech world, we can adapt to increased customer demand without disruptions. There's also security. Just as we protect our secret coffee recipes, decoupling enhances security by isolating sensitive operations from the rest of our processes. But how does our middle tier communicate so seamlessly with all the other pieces? This is where the API, or application program interface, comes in. It's like our coffee shop's secret menu, providing a standardized way for our tiers to interact with one another. The API in our middle tier acts as a bridge, allowing our front end and our back end to communicate effortlessly, just like a secret menu item that's only shared with those in the know. The API ensures smooth, standardized communication between our tiers, much like our coffee shop maintaining consistent communications between our customer and the barista. Oh, and by the way, the API is usually based on the same type of actions that we see in HTTP: get, put, post, delete. So my tech voyagers, remember, three tiers create the symphony of your application. Embrace decoupling and APIs to foster flexibility, growth, and seamless interactions. And remember, the three-tier web architecture we've explored here is the most common approach when building applications, ensuring a robust foundation for all of your technical endeavors. To sum it up, the three-tier web architecture, front end, middle tier, and back end, is like a symphony of components that work together with APIs, acting as the seamless connectors. Knowing this empowers you to craft applications that are flexible, scalable, and secure. Beware of tightly coupled applications. They can be rigid, hard to maintain, and prone to issues. Think of it as our coffee shop running into chaos if the cashier, for instance, had to make coffee. All right, let's review. Three-tier web architecture is a widely adopted framework for web applications. APIs play a critical role in this architecture, serving as the conduit through which these layers communicate. They enable different software components to interact. So as we bid adieu to our coffee shop metaphor, let's dive deeper into tech and explore new wonders with each step.